And so here we are with chapter 75 of Katekyo Hitman REBORN. And as we know from chapter 74, they finally reached the top. Unfortunately, Bianchi was taken out. Okay, she was stabbed in the stomach by Futa. Futa tried to kill Suna due to him being under the influence of Mukuro's mind control, but Suna was able to break it by telling him it's not his fault, so he felt unconscious. Then we have where Gokudera was able to find Hibari, who was hiding behind a wall, still very heavily injured, but he did manage to defeat both Ken and Chikusa in this chapter, okay? And, you know, he has an agenda because he was beaten by Mukuro, so now he's on the prowl. So now we get into this chapter where basically after 74, Mukuro told Suna and Reborn that he had 6 abilities, 6 techniques by the 6 paths of reincarnation: human, heaven, hell, animal, it was hell or Hades. I forgot the other ones right now. It's not coming on the top of my head. But there are those 6 paths. He used one that was I forgot what it was called. It started with the S. I don't know why it's not coming to my head right now. I kind of forgot. But that was the one he used first, okay? And then in this chapter, chapter 75, he was basically saying that, like, as he was explaining, you know, he got these techniques because he went through many different lives, many reincarnations, and they were basically carved into his soul. So hence why he has this ability. Different kanjis for 1 to 6 carved into his left eye, I believe. Yes. So starting in this chapter, he's like, okay, I'm going to demonstrate one of the paths to you. So he takes his, I would say it's a trident, jams it onto the floor, and the floor starts to break apart. We see where Futa and Bianchi is falling through the cracks, as well as Reborn, and then Suna is just like, what the heck is going on? It feels so real, but it comes to find out that it was an illusion. And this was the path of Hades or hell. Okay, it's endless nightmares of your worst dreams coming to life. It's like it's a loop, if you will. It's a loop of nightmares. And Suna's just like, what the heck? That felt so real and everything. And it was because of Reborn he snapped him out of it, because Reborn obviously is there with Suna, and he's able to see through already Mukuro's abilities. So Mukuro is just like, he's looking at Reborn and saying, oh, so you're not joining in on the fun, you're not challenging me, you're not fighting me. And Reborn is just like, it's not my job, I'm not supposed to be fighting. It's his job, it's Suna's job to be handling you and fighting you to defeat you. Mukuro does say that that's very like of the mafia world, so I'm guessing when it comes to fight, they don't do that, you know, I'm going to jump you, I'm going to let one person handle it, and if they can't do it, then I intervene. So it's like more of like a one-on-one thing. I guess that's something in their world in terms of the mafia and all of that stuff, which, based on my memory, was it always like that for the fights? Yeah, actually the fights were like, it was basically one-on-one, like one person handle, and then after that, if they get beaten, yeah, it was like that in the series overall, like one-on-one. It was never like the jumping. It like, no, we ain't jumping people, okay? We ain't jumping people. We ain't doing that, okay? So that's happening. And mind you, again, at this time of period, Suna out of everybody is the weakest link. My boy has no skills whatsoever. My boy tried to use the whip and he whipped himself, unfortunately. Okay, he tried to use Dino's whip and he couldn't even use that. So what do you think, how do you think he's capable of fighting against someone who could use illusions? And then he used the illusions or the path of animals. And then the way he explained it, if I mind you, the state of hell or Hades is the first state. Okay, then his eyes switched to 3, and then he used the state of animals. And as explained, they say this skill is from the 3rd state, the state of animals. A person driven to death is able to summon living creatures. And I don't think we really, outside of this chapter and this arc, I think this is the last time we've ever seen him use the third state of animals. So it's basically, as he, going back to what Mukuro said earlier, he's been through many reincarnations, many lives, to the point that now each skill was engraved into his soul. So because he has faced death multiple times, he was able to achieve this ability, the state of animals. So he's basically conjuring something, an animal, out of thin air and making it real. Now this kind of ties into what Mukuro is also capable of doing later in the series, but like I said, state of animals is probably, this is the first and last time we were able, unless it did appear again, but I don't remember quite well, but I'm going to say this is probably the first and last time we see state of animals, and that's it. Because after that, it's just nothing but pure illusions. It's not to say they sucked. They were highly effective, but yeah. So he uses that and he conjures up snakes, poisonous snakes. And of course, Suna's thinking, oh no, this is now another illusion. And Mukuro's like, okay, you think they're fake? Let one of them bite you and see how fake it is. And just before the snakes, the poisonous snakes, can bite him, we see a tonfa fly across the room and hit Mukuro. And then we have where bombs start exploding. So eventually Gokudera is kind of fine, despite, you know, the chest and everything, and he had where Hibari was bringing him into the room. They were able to save Suna before he could get bitten by one of those poisonous snakes that Mukuro basically summoned out of thin air. Okay, so like the whole taunting that Mukuro was doing, saying that, like, you know, Reborn can't do nothing, and obviously Suna is momentarily useless in this whole ordeal. Okay, he's not the most skilled out of everybody that's here. And he was saved by a very injured Mukuro and Gokudera. Of course, if there was a panel, well, because knowing Hibari's, I'm saying Mukuro and Gokudera, Hibari, he threw Gokudera. Gokudera's already injured. Why are you throwing him, okay? So that happens, and like I said, Hibari has a score to deal. My boy was on the prowl. He's like, I am coming here for round 2. I want this smoke. This smoke is not, this fade is not going anywhere. So he came back for Mukuro a second time. It comes to find out that the first fight, Mukuro beat Hibari so badly that Hibari has multiple broken bones in his body, but yet he's still up and moving. When I say Hibari is, he got that Black Force energy, okay? He is so stubborn and hard-headed, and this dude just wants smoke 24/7. I don't care what nobody says. So he and Mukuro faced off again. They're fighting, they're clashing with each other. Suna's just like, yo, these guys are moving so fast. This is like DBZ. When I was a kid, I was watching DBZ, and you see Goku and another opponent going clashing with each other. That's basically what Suna was seeing in front of his face. And he's wondering, how is Hibari, despite being so gravely injured, is still moving so fast? So the whole time they're fighting, and then we have where Mukuro tried to do the same type of attack again on Hibari by using, you know, sakura trees and petals, because we all know Hibari is not immune to the sakura disease, because he got bitten in one of the way earlier chapters, and so now he's highly allergic to sakura petals. Anything with sakura petals, trees, he's highly allergic to it. But lo and behold, Dr. Shamal gave Gokudera basically the remedy for that. So he was able to defeat Mukuro, right? Mukuro's down for the count. And then Hibari drops down to the ground. Come to find out, he was unconscious for like the second half of the fight. My dude was fighting while practically asleep. The fade was not going anywhere. He wanted to beat the brakes off of Mukuro. He's like, this fade will not go anywhere. And then he fell asleep. Well, he was already asleep, but now his body was catching up to the sleeping process, okay? And everybody's just like, this man had an agenda. This man, he already had an agenda. Despite all the broken bones, his body being gravely injured, he's like, this man did me wrong the first time. I'm not gonna let him do it again the second time. He's still walking and he's still breathing. Nope. No. So it was so hilarious. And from there, you're thinking everybody can, take a deep breath of air. It's all over. They can get Futa. They're gonna have to go and try to help Bianchi. And obviously Yamamoto is still outside, knocked out, but they're thinking, everything is okay. And unfortunately Suna didn't really get to do much. But like I said, this arc, by the time the chapter ended, before the chapter could actually end, we see where Mukuro gets back up. And he's like, I'm not going to allow them to capture me. I don't know where he got the gun from. He got a gun out of nowhere. I don't know if it's because illusion or something. He got a gun, put it to his head, and then he said the most classical way of saying goodbye in Italian is arrivederci, goodbye. Shot himself in the head, and he's dead. He's down. And then you're like, so he really did not want to get caught, right? And they're like, okay, he basically killed himself, so all is good, right? All is good. We got everybody, so we can go home. But the situation is turning south. They're not in the clear because Bianchi is waking up, but it's not Bianchi. Her eye is one of Mukuro's eyes. He possessed Bianchi by the end of the chapter. Okay, so he's going to use a gravely injured Bianchi to fight everybody else that's still remaining in the room. Gokudera is still injured. Suna can't fight. He's going to use basically a stab Bianchi to finish off these two and possibly try to fight Reborn. My boy Suna can't catch a break. My son thinking he's all in the clear. But Mukuro said, no, I still got a card up my sleeve. After the hell state, after the animal state, this is another state. This is another state, and it's going to be revealed in the next episode. I don't know if it's another state or it's just fully possession that he's doing right now, but I feel sorry, and this is going to really drive Suna to reach new heights that he himself has never achieved in his life until this very moment. Like, Mukuro is the sole reason why Suna is who he is today, because when everybody thinking, if you looked at the panel, really focus on it, when everybody's just like, okay, we can relax and everything, only Suna was the only one to feel like, yo, like, when you get uneasy and then your stomach starts to turn and everything, you feel like you want to throw up. That was Suna. He was like, yo, what is this? It feels disgusting. Everybody's just talking like, okay, this whole ordeal is over. We can all go home and relax, get better, get patched up and everything. And Suna's the only one like clutching himself, like he's feeling something so disturbing in the air. Something is making his stomach turn, and that's because Mukuro basically possessed Bianchi. Like, Mukuro's presence is just it's just I don't know the best way to, like, whenever Suna senses Mukuro, and you'll see it happen multiple times throughout the series, the same feeling that Suna can feel in this moment, even though that it does get lesser, because this is the first time he's met Mukuro, and Mukuro was very hell-bent on eradicating the Vongola, eradicating Suna and everything. But Suna always gets this almost sixth sense whenever he feels the presence of Mukuro. And this is the chapter that starts it. Whenever he knows Mukuro, he gets this kind of chill, this eerie feeling. And that's how we know Mukuro is coming. He's there. His presence is there. Okay? So, guys, do tell me in the comment section below on how you felt about chapter 75 of Katekyo Hitman Reborn. What if you were watching the anime? If you're currently watching the anime, do tell me on how you feel in terms of like how the anime adapted it. What were some things that you realized were taken out, put in the same, was done better or wasn't done better? How do you feel about this chapter? Were there some things the first time you was reading this chapter that you didn't realize before until you reread it again? Tell me all of that down below. The links are in the description box, so you guys go check that out. And I'm Kimmy-chan of Anime Legends, and I will see you guys later. Bye!